Good morning, dear students. Now we are into session 7 of the first module of this subject, Computer Organization and Architecture. So in this session, we'll be looking into fixed point and floating point numbers and their representation and IEEE standards used to represent these formats with an example. So if you recall, in previous sessions, we discussed about number representation for unsigned and signed integer numbers, right? The whole numbers, what we call. So in this session, we'll be looking into floating point numbers. Now, what is fixed point numbers? So you can just look into this, what is written here. If B is a binary vector, then it can be interpreted as an unsigned integer. This we discussed earlier with respect to binary weights, right? Like this is LSB. So just look at the notations I'm doing. This is MSB, right? So it's a binary, is a weighted code. So it means you will try to get the value of this number with respect to its positional weights, 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, etc. like that. If it is an unsigned number, right? If it's a signed number, the MSB represents the sign. Okay. And this vector has an implicit binary point to its immediate right. That means we do not, for example, if I write, say x is 25, is as good as writing 25.0, as we know. And because the decimal point is on the right side, we can just discard this and we can take it as a whole number or an integer. This is a fixed point notation, okay? 25.0, something like that. Now, if the binary vector is interpreted with the implicit binary point to the left of the sign bit, then it becomes a fraction. So, for example, 25.0 is to the right of this bit, right? Whereas 0.25 is a fraction. We know that, right? That means if the decimal point or the binary point is moved towards the left of the MSB, then it is a fraction. If it is to the right, then it is a whole number or an integer. Okay. So this concept is to be known very well to understand the floating point number concept later. Okay. And the values, the range of values would be this, what is for the fraction. Okay, for binary, of course, we are showing. So in binary also, if I try to show that number, suppose 0.111, let us say, what is the value of this number unsigned? If I assume this would be what, 1 multiplied by 2 raised to minus 1. This would be again 1 multiplied by 2 raised to, sorry, yeah, plus 1 multiplied by 2 raised to minus 2. So, right? So that means it's 1 by 2 plus 1 by 4 plus 1 by 8. That would be the value of this number. That is why it is 2 power minus n as a fraction. If it is not a fraction, it's a whole number, then it is 2 power n. That is 2 power 0, 2 power 1, 2 power 2, something like that. Okay. So the fixed point is either to the immediate right of the LSB or to the immediate left of the MSB. Okay. The drawback is it can only represent a finite range, and that range is a very small number. And but for scientific calculations, the range of values should be more, and the supported by fixed point format is insufficient. So to accommodate very large integers as well as very small fractions, the position of the binary point should be variable, and it should be automatically adjusted as the computation proceeds. So this is called as a floating point representation. For example, in especially in physics and all, you would have studied, for example, what is the electron charge? It is 1. Say 6 multiplied by 10 power minus 9, it's such a small number, 10 power minus 19. Or let us say what is population of India, it's a huge number, right? So to represent very small numbers or very large numbers, fixed point is not enough, not sufficient. So we go for a floating point representation. Okay. So what is the convenient way of representation of the floating point numbers? This is one of the easiest way to represent a floating point number. So what are the components of this number? The m is the base, sorry, mantissa. Then there is a implied base, decimal or binary. Of course, here we are representing in binary. We are used to decimal notations anyway from our school days, right? And an exponent e. So there is a mantissa part, there is a implied base or a radix, and then there is an exponent part. Okay. So the first part of the fixed point format is a fixed point format called as mantissa. The second part designates the position of the binary point. It is called the exponent. And now the concept is this point, this decimal or binary point is not fixed. That means it can be anywhere in this particular number. Earlier we said either it should be at the leftmost side to indicate a fraction, or it is at the rightmost side to indicate an integer. But now this point is floating. We can adjust this point wherever we want depending on our necessity or representation format required. Accordingly, the exponent can also be changed and needs to be changed, of course. Okay. So simple example I have taken here. Suppose there's a decimal number 3575.25. Okay. So you can write this as, you can see this we know already. So I'll just try to write this. For example, I can write this as 37.5, right, into 10 power 1, something like this, right? This is possible. That means I can move this point towards left and increase the exponent. This is like actually multiplied by 10 power 0, right? The exponent is 0, right? Because exponent 0 is 1. So if I move this decimal point towards left, I'll increase the exponent by 1. If I move it still one more position towards left, let us say I make it as 35.7525, something like this, I'll multiply it by 10 power 2 to get the same number again. Or similarly like this, for example, I have moved it, sorry, I have moved it 4 positions to the left. So I have moved it 4 positions to the left. So I have increased the exponent from 0 to 4 now. You can see here, right? This is what I have done. So a floating point representation format means the decimal or the binary point is not fixed. So we can rearrange this as per our convenience and as per our requirement or as per the hardware specification. Okay, so that is how we try to. So what is this 0.357525 now? It becomes a fraction or a mantissa, and this 0.4 is the exponent. So two important component is the fraction or the mantissa part and the exponent part in a floating point representation. And of course, the base, either it is 10 or binary. Of course, here I've shown decimal. We will show the binary also representation. Okay. The value of the exponent indicates the actual decimal point is 4 positions to the right of the indicated decimal point. Because you see, this was the decimal point earlier, I made it as 0.3575, right? This means I have moved this decimal point towards left by 4 positions. Actually, it was after 4 positions. So this exponent is easy to understand why this comes, because I have moved this towards left by 4 positions. Similarly, if I move it by 4 positions to the right, then this exponent would be in the negative format. That is why there is plus or minus e here. Okay. Or for example, let us say I try to write this. Suppose I try to write this. Suppose I have a number like 35.75 is the original number. Let us say this is multiplied by 10 power 0, right? Now let us say I try to move this towards the right. Then I'll make it as 357.5, 357.5. But 357 is not my number. 35 was my number. So I have to divide it by 10. It is as good as 10 power minus 1 multiplication. So that means when I move the decimal point or the binary point towards right, the exponent is in negative form. When I move the decimal point to the left, the exponent is in positive integer. Exponent is always integer. Please remember that. The mantissa may be integer or fraction, but exponent is always an integer, assigned integer. Okay. And this is also known as scale factors. Okay. And we also look at what is known as significant digits. Okay. So for example, this is a scientific number, what you studied in physics or any other, maybe any number, maybe a large number or a smallest number like Planck's constant or whatever, or something like this. Okay. So these numbers are supposed to have, that is how many digits are there, they are called as significant digits in this particular thing. And the scale factors, okay, these are the scale factors. Okay, indicate the position of the scale factors, that is exponent. They indicate the position of the decimal point with respect to the significant digits. Okay, now let us say we'll consider one number, some number. Okay, this is actually multiplication. Okay, this is multiplication, this is x, or you can take it as simply y, so that be easy to understand. Some number y. Okay, now if this number is to be represented using only 7 significant digits, the representation would be like this. You can see 7 digits. This is multiplication. Okay, it's not x, please remember this is multiplication. So you make this as y, it becomes easy. So there are 7 digits you can see here, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is the meaning of this? This is actually indicating the precision of the number. So earlier, if you see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There are 10 significant digits. That means you can indicate that parameter with more accuracy. Okay, but the problem with that is you need the representation in that format only, and sometimes we may not need so much accuracy to represent. That is 3-digit or 4-digit accuracy is also enough. Then we will try to reduce the significant digits. So if you reduce it to 7 significant digits, you can see you get up to only this much. This part is discarded. And anyway, because it is a fraction, that is 0.000, so the weight will be like 10 power minus 1, 10 power minus 2, 10 power minus 3, like that. As I said, towards the right of the fraction, the weight is 10 power minus 1, minus 2, right? Like this. So it means the weight of this would be almost negligible. So 10 power minus 2 is 1 by 100. 10 power minus 3 is 1 by 1000. So naturally, losing this doesn't make any difference to my original data. So I can represent this number with only 7 significant digits or 5 significant digits, whatever is required as per our requirement. Okay. And if the number is shifted so that the significant digit are brought into the 7 available slot, that means here actually you can see there are zeros, right? That is after a decimal point. And as we know, 0 doesn't convey much of the information. So what I can do is I can bring this towards left again, right? I can move this towards left 3 positions, or I can move the decimal point towards right by say 3 positions. So I will get this 0.4056781, right? And as I said, when you move the decimal points towards the right, the exponent needs to be decreased. Once again, I'm repeating, when you move the decimal point or the binary point towards right, the exponent is decreased. When you move the decimal point to the left, the exponent is increased. So here the original number was this with 10 power 12 as an exponent or a scale factor. Now, because I have moved this 3 positions towards this would be decreased by 3. So this would be 10 power 9, something like that. Got it? So this is same as the original number only, except that I'm trying to take out these leading zeros so that I can just ensure the proper working of the number, the system with the numbers themselves. Okay. Okay. So exponent was decreased by 1 for left shift. So for every left shift, okay, please remember that. And then for every right shift, it is decremented like that. Okay. One more important thing. A number which is brought into a form so that all the available Mantisza digits are optimally used is called a normalized number. So we'll look into what is known as normalization of the numbers. Okay. This is also not x, this is actually multiplication. Okay, something like this. So we'll discuss that in the next slide also again. So a floating point number is said to be in normalized form if the most significant one in the mantissa is in the most significant bit of the mantissa. Okay, that is when the decimal point is placed to the right of the first non-zero significant digit, the number is said to be normalized. So shall I repeat this? When the decimal point is placed to the right of the first non-zero significant digit, the number is said to be normalized. Okay, that means the most significant digit of this mantissa would be non-zero. So then it is called as a normalized form. Okay. So A floating point number is normalized when we make that the integer part of its mantissa is non-zero. For example, this is this is actually 10 power 5. Sorry, it's not 105. So an error here. This is 10 power 5. Okay. Whereas 0.35 multiplied by 10 power 3 is normalized. What is the meaning? We said that, right? The decimal point is to be placed to the right of the first non-zero digit and the number is said to be normalized. Okay, that means here after the decimal point there is a zero that should not be there, whereas you can see here there is a non-zero digit. So after the decimal point, if there is a non-zero digit, then we say the normalized. Why normalization? Because they provide the maximum possible precision for the floating point numbers. What's the meaning? Suppose the original number was like this, let us say 0.0035, say 72, something like this. Okay, but these zeros anyway, if you multiply it by any weight also, the output would be zero. So they really do not convey much of the meaning, and they occupy more space. That is, 6 significant digits are there, but out of that only 2 are, sorry, and 2 are zeros. So instead of that, what I'll do is I will write this as 0.3572. Now I can represent with only 4 significant digits, but all are included, no zeros are there. So towards the right of the decimal point, there is a non-zero digit. So it is now, of course, you have to appropriately modify the exponent. That is not a problem. Here it was 10 power minus 5. It has become 10 power 3. That's not an issue because exponent we can easily increase or decrease. So we are looking into the mantissa part of it. If mantissa contains a lot of zeros, that doesn't convey any meaning and a lot of precision will be lost by that. Okay. So to get more detail about the data within the significant digits, we have to make it as normalized. So this is a normalized value. This is a unnormalized or denormalized value. Okay. So this is the general operation. How do you do this? This is shift the mantissa to the left or right, depending on where the decimal point is. Okay. So do until the MSB of the mantissa is 1. 1 in the sense it is non-zero in this sense. Because it is binary, we are showing it as 1 or 0, because in binary you don't get 3 4 5. I'm showing a decimal number example, no, so you are getting this. But in binary, what happens? Suppose your number is 1011 dot say 11. So whether it is fraction, whether it is mantissa, whether it is exponent, everything will be in ones and zeros only. So we are giving this as 1, okay, in binary format, right? So for example, 0.001110 is unnormalized. So if I move this to the left and make the decimal point like 0.1110 like this, then it is normalized. Appropriately, I'll modify the exponent for that. Okay. So normalization is one of the very important consideration to be taken when we are discussing floating point numbers. Okay. So a floating point number now can be completely represented by its sign. A string of significant digits called as mantissa. Of course, when I'm taking my minus sign, for example, electron charge is say minus 1.6 in 10 something like that. If I want to represent a floating point number also with sign, so I can take the sign, mantissa, and then exponent with the base. Of course, so these are the 3 components of any floating point number now. Okay, whether it is normalized or unnormalized, but we prefer normalized representation because they give me more precision and I can represent with more accuracy. Okay, so there are 2 formats to represent this floating point numbers: single precision format and double precision format. Single precision is a 32-bit format, double precision is a 64-bit format. Okay, so in general, you can see in a 32-bit number, suppose we allocate 24 bits to represent the fraction, that is the mantissa, and 1 bit for the sign. Okay, so we can allocate 7 bits to represent the exponent. So 24 plus 1, which is sign, and plus 7, which is 32 totally. So out of 32 bits, one MSB is always sign. Again, here also MSB is always sign. Please remember, MSB indicates the sign. If it is 0, the number is positive. If it is 1, the number is negative. MSB is the sign, and then we have 7 bits for exponent and 24 bits for, I'm talking about binary format, 24 bits for mantissa exponent. And it's always in 2's complement format, as we know, because it has single zero, no? So all thing is, and assumed base is 2 only, because we are looking into binary numbers now. Now 7-bit 2's complement number, 7-bit, if you remember again, okay, I'll just recall that. In the 4-bit, what was the range, if you remember? -8 to +7, no? -8 to +7, if you remember that from the previous session. For 5-bit, similar way, if you calculate, it will be -16 to +15, right? The range of numbers. Go back to the session and find out. Similarly, for 7-bit, what will be the range of numbers which can be represented will be -64 to +63 in decimal. -64 decimal to +63 in decimal. Please look at what I'm writing. So this is what is important for you to understand again, right? Okay. So the range of numbers would be like this. Okay, again, it's not x, it is multiplication here. So this, please make it as multiplication. It's multiplication. Okay. It's not x. So here you make the number as y. So it may be confusing here. So what is the magnitude of the number? This, we know this is absolute value magnitude, no? What is the maximum lowest number and what is the maximum possible, the highest number? Okay. So lowest number with 7, this one is 0.000001 multiplied by 2 power minus 64. 2 power minus 64, such a small number, as we all know. And maximum is 2 power 63. 2 power 2 is 4. 2 power 3 is 8. 2 power 4 is 16. 2 power 5 is 32. Like the 2 power 63. So in decimal representation, this range would be something like this. This is multiplication. So up to 10 power minus 20, you can represent on the lower side. On the higher side, you can represent up to 10 power 15, such a huge number. So like Indian population or something like such a huge number, you can represent that. So what is the representation? The MSB is the sign. Then you have the exponent 7 bits, and then 24 bits required for fractional mantissa. Okay. So this is a general format, but IEEE, Institution of Electrical and Electronics Engineers, is a standard organizing body in general for the world to develop some standards for representation of numbers and other technical aspects. So IEEE has come up with a standard called as IEEE 754 for floating point computation. Okay. And IEEE 754 is the most common representation of real numbers. Why this standard means, suppose here I have shown that 32-bit numbers, I'm allocating 24 bits to mantissa. Somebody may say 20 bits to mantissa and say 12 bits to exponent. So there may be variations. Then the number represented in your system and the number represented by some other system would be different. So to have a commonality, they have come up with a standard format so that every computation is based on this format only. Okay. So what is the thing you are having? Sign bit is there, then the exponent is there, and the normalized mantissa now. What is the normalized mantissa? So as I said earlier, you should have a non-zero digit with the binary point or the decimal point, right? This is unnormalized. Okay. So all representation, and then there is something called as a biased exponent. Okay. So why we are trying to do this? Anyway, exponent can be negative or positive. I said it can be a line integer like 2 power minus 20, 2 power minus 30, or 2 power plus 15 or something. But we try to add a bias to that to make it as a positive only, so that the computation becomes easier and our representation becomes easier. That's it. Okay. So a bias means adding a standard DC value to that, a standard number to that, so that that negative number in the exponent is made as 0. Okay, for example, you are going from say minus 64 to plus 63, right? This was the original exponent. Suppose I don't want to start at minus 64, I want to start at 0. So what I'll do is I'll add 64 this is bias. So this becomes 0. Since I've added on this side, I have to add on this side also. So this will be 127, right? So what will be your biased? Original exponent was this. Biased exponent is now 0 to 127. Okay. So this is the easier way of doing it. So you're just shifting this negative direction to the 0 origin, and then you're shifting this also towards that only, to the positive side. Okay, so this is how IEEE format looks like. And in IEEE, we have two formats, single precision and double precision. Single precision is a 32-bit format. Okay, in this MSB for sign, 8 bits for biased exponent, and 23 bits for mantissa. Earlier, I gave a simple example of 24. This is just an example. It is not a standard. So similarly, everybody may use their own representation. It becomes too difficult to make the computations. So IEEE single precision is always this. So you should write this only. 23 bits for mantissa, 8 bits for exponent, and 1 bit for sign. So please try to write this. It will be easy to understand. Okay, so this 23-bit mantissa, oh sorry, this is 23-bit mantissa with a sign bit, okay? 23-bit mantissa, this is single precision IEEE floating point number. So this is how you try to represent. So earlier exponent was, let us say, general exponent was E, original exponent. The new exponent is say E dash, okay? So what I mean by E dash is E plus 127 now, because we are using 8-bit exponent. Please remember, 8-bit exponent means in general, for 7-bit we said minus 64 to plus 63. So for 8-bit you will get minus 128 to plus 127. Again, go back to the 2's complement representation format, you know the range of numbers, right? So normal exponent would be in the range minus 128 to plus 127. But biased exponent will not have this. Biased exponent will be E plus 127. That is that. Okay, excess 127 representation we say. That one. Okay. This is 8-bit signed exponent in excess 127. Excess 127 means we are adding that number 127 again, something like that. 0 is positive, 1 is negative. And there is a decimal point here, which is assumed to be a decimal point. Please remember, we cannot represent the decimal point in the hardware in game. You can represent only the numbers. So decimal point is assumed to be there. That is why it's floating. So that is with respect to the exponent. So what is the exponent value? Based on that, I can easily know what is the, where is the decimal point location or the binary point location. Okay. So this is a mantissa fraction. Why it is called fraction? Because to the right of the that is to the decimal point is here, right? To the left of the number, then it is a fraction. And you write a number and put the decimal point to the right, then it becomes an integer. So we don't want that anyway, right? So we want this only. Okay, like 35.75, something like this. We want to represent something like this. Okay. Or it can be like 0.3575 with 4 significant digits. In decimal, I'm showing because easy to understand. Multiplied by 10 power 2. Correct? No, that is exponent like that. Okay, so normalized way, 0.3575 is the normalized way of writing. So this is single precision format. So it is excess 127. The actual range is this, as I said here, minus 128 up to plus 127. So when you are adding this original, the excess 127 notation, you get from 0 to 255. Okay. The last 23 bits in this single precision format represent the mantissa, whose most significant bit is always equal to 1. That means binary number. So it is normalized. Correct, no? So the most significant bit of this particular mantissa part is 1. Okay, so that means you don't get 0.00111. This is unnormalized. Once again, I'm repeating that. Okay, what do you mean by normalized? Okay, so the point is that, so 23 bits will be used to store this mantissa. They represent the fractional part of the mantissa. Okay, now another example. Okay, so we'll come to the double precision format. So we'll look into the example later once we finish this. So it's a 64-bit format. with a sign bit and 11-bit exponent in excess 1023 format and with 52-bit mantissa. So again, look, this is very standard question. Explain IEEE single precision and double precision formats with examples. So you need to write properly in the same way. So this is exponent, which is 11 bits. This is sign, which is 1 bit. This is mantissa, which is 52 bits. Okay, double precision format. Okay, so what is this? So the how many bits I am exponent? 11 bits of exponent. 11 bits of exponent means what? 2 power 11. Correct. No? So for 8-bit we said minus 128 to plus 127. Then for 9 bits it will be minus 256 to plus 255. Like that, if you take 11 bits, the actual numbers will be from minus 1024 to plus 1023 exponent. Okay, exponent would be like that. But again, to avoid this negative one, we use biased exponent, that is E dash, which is plus adding 1024 to this becomes 0, adding 1024 to this becomes 2047. So this is that kind of operation. Okay, 11-bit excess 1023 representation or exponent, we call that as. Okay, and 52-bit is for mantissa. So what is the meaning? With 32-bit, what you can represent? Definitely you can represent double of that with 64-bit, right? So double in either sense, the lowest or highest. For example, earlier you could have represented say 10 power 19. Now you can go up to say 10 power 38. Or earlier you could have represented only 10 power minus 19, let us say. That was the range of numbers with single precision. Then now you can go up to 10 power minus, it's still smaller numbers, especially for scientific calculations or atomic and physics or other things. You know that these numbers are generally useful, right? So double precision can be used to represent very lowest as well as the very highest numbers, the largest as well as two smallest numbers. Okay, so this is the operation 2024, 2047, right? So the range of numbers I will just discuss in the next slide. Okay. And I said about precision, right, earlier. 7 digits means that much precision, 5 digits means that much precision. So you want more precision, 53 bits will provide more precision to you compared to a 32-bit representation. That's it. Okay. So this we have already said, since your scale factor or the exponent is in the form of 2 power I, shifting the mantissa to the right or left by 1 bit is compensated by increase or decrease of 1 in the exponent that I have already indicated to you. So when you shift towards left, you increase your exponent. When you shift towards right, you decrease your exponent. Okay, this one. And as I said already, the decimal point is an assumed one. It's an imaginary thing. You cannot represent that in the hardware in any case. So we look at the exponent only and understand that where is the decimal point for that. Okay. So again, if I take that one example of decimal numbers, suppose I have say 3575 multiplied by 10 power minus 2. Oh, sorry, okay, let us say minus 3. Let us say this is the number. So there is no decimal point mentioned here. So automatically I can know that decimal point is 3 position to the left of the last digit. That means this value is, we know that it is 3.575. Correct, no? So these three, so that means decimal point is assumed to be here. Suppose same number, I write it as this way, 3575 multiplied by 10 power minus 4. Suppose I write something like this another way. This means this will be 0.3575. Decimal point is to the, so shifted 4 positions to the left. It will be here. Similarly, plus also. So easily looking at the exponent, we can easily find out the position of the decimal point, which is variable. That's why it's called as floating point. So it can be here, it can be here, it can be here, anywhere, depending on what way we want to represent, what is the number of significant digits we want to represent that number. Okay. So this and all can be changed as per our convenience. That is why we have given that exponent format and the mantissa format you can see here. So if I try to write this exponent, based on that, I will try to put the decimal point. Okay. So the range of values are, this is a standard one. You can at least remember this. So what is the maximum? Because we are using the biased exponent, right? So the range would be like minus 127 6 to plus 127, or similarly from minus 1022 to this much. So approximately 10 power you can see here. So up to 10 power 38, such a huge number you can represent in single precision. If you feel that that is also not enough, you can go up to 10 power 308. Of course, we can't even imagine what can be such a number, such a huge number. Maybe for astronomical data or something like that, we may need that. Similarly, the lowest number here is 10 power minus 44. 10 power minus 1. Just think of 10 power minus 1 is 1 by 10. 10 power minus 2 is like 1 by 100. So a small number. So imagine 10 power minus 44. So such a smallest number can also be represented with floating point numbers. Normalized and unnormalized. Normalized is the one which is normally generally taken every case, right? So summary of these numbers, this, at least this table will be helpful for you to at least remember something, right? Then coming to, oh sorry, one more important thing, your special values in IEEE format. Okay, so we'll go to the example later. So some special values are there in the IEEE format. Uh, like 0 itself is a special value with an exponent and mantis of 0 minus 0. Okay, is it very clear? So 0 is a special value with exponent and mantis of 0 and minus 0, or 0 and plus 0. Okay, and denormalized values. If all the exponent are zeros, but the mantissa is not, then it is called as a denormalized number. Okay, that means what? Normalized number we already said. There should be a non-zero digit to the left of the decimal point. So if the exponents are zeros, but the mantissa is a non-zero, then the value is a denormalized number. Third one, infinity. What is, how do you define? Of course, infinity we cannot represent as we know, but in a floating point format, if you have all exponent as ones and mantis of all zeros, then it is called as a infinity. Okay, so just imagine like 0 to the power 100, exponent all ones. That means exponent having some value, but mantissa is 0. 0 for anything is something like that, which is not possible anyway to write. So that is infinity kind of a thing. Then not a number. Yeah, here you can see not a number. NaN. That's one of the special case where it is used, where exponent is filled all ones with a 0 sign bit, and mantissa, that is not a 0. That is like a error condition actually. Okay, all ones in the exponent binary format with sign bit as 0 and mantissa which is a non-zero, that may be a special value used to note a variable that is not yet used kind of a thing. So it's a not a number. Okay, so not a number you can see here, NaN, a special value. So this is a summary of this IEEE coding format for say 7-bit or sorry, for single precision and double precision. Okay, for this particular thing, exponent values and so it's a denormalized number, normalized number, 0, infinity, and then NaN. So you can easily understand here only. This first column is exponents, second column is the mantissa fraction. So 0 means all exponent is 0, fraction is also 0, sign bit can be 0 or 1, so it is plus or minus 0. How do you represent infinity? The exponent is maximum 2047. I showed no, minus 1024 to 1023 plus 1024, that one. So infinity means all exponent is the maximum, but fractional part is 0 and sign can be plus or minus, so it is plus or minus infinity. Okay, then NaN, not a number. The exponent is maximum, but the fractional part is non-zero. Okay, so there's a difference here. You can see infinity is represented with exponent as the maximum value and fractional part as 0. NaN is represented as exponent as maximum value and fraction can be any non-zero value. So it is not defined as a number. It is not a number. It's an error condition kind of a thing. Okay. So let us say one example. We'll try to check here and then do this thing. Suppose let us say this is the normal number what we write on pen and paper, 85.125. You represent this decimal number using IEEE 754 single precision and double precision format. So what is the first? This is a decimal number. This is a decimal number. What is your first job? You separately take the portions of that number, convert it to binary first. This, of course, you can do in calculator, you know, decimal to binary conversion, or you know the method of dividing by 2 and getting that also you can do. Similarly, this is the fraction part, this is the whole part. So 0.125 also represent in binary first. Okay. So what is 85.125 in binary is this now, right? And what we said, we should normalize. This is normalized. This is unnormalized. This is normalized. That means what? To the left of the decimal point, there must be a single non-zero digit, sorry, non-zero bit, because it's binary. Okay. So that means you put this number, this one, you shift left to this point. So how many positions you shifted? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 positions. So you are multiplying by an exponent 2 power 6. This is actually what you multiply by 2 power 0 kind of a thing, right? And since it is given as 85, it's assume that it is plus, so the sign bit will be 0. So hope you got this point. So what should you do? Given decimal number, both the fractional part and the integer part, you first convert it into binary number. Once you convert it into binary number, use normalization to have the significant digits properly. To the left of the binary point, there should be a non-zero 1. Then how many positions you shifted, so many positions you multiply with the exponent. Sign bit is 0. Single precision format. Once again, let us see that single precision format. What is that? First, you need to write a sign bit. Then you need to write the exponent as a biased exponent using 8 bits. And then you should represent mantissa using 23 bits. Okay. So we'll come to the example. So biased exponent is what? I said you have to add 127. No, I have shown that to you. So your actual exponent is 6. You are adding 127, which is 133, which is in decimal again. That also you make it in binary. Because all things we are representing using 32 bits, binary bits. So exponent, mantissa, everything should be represented in binary format, even though it's a decimal number. Okay. So biased exponent again. So just to recall, biased exponent excess 127. I said excess 127. Add 127. Earlier minus 128 to plus 127. So whatever the original exponent is there, you add 127 to that. Okay, something like that. That is the one which we are doing here. Okay, so you got this 133. Okay, that is exponent part of it. This is exponent, biased exponent. So we need to represent what? Exponent and mantissa fraction along with the sign. Sign is anyway known because it's a plus 85, it's 0 by default, right? So what is the normalized mantissa now? Is this number, the same number with this, whatever is this is the fraction. No, this is what is your mantissa part, right? Mantissa fraction. Please remember that's what we have written here. The mantissa fraction, this part, right? This you can see the diagram. So this is the decimal point. This is your mantissa fraction, right? Right side what you represent. So what is the mantissa fraction you are writing? This one, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 0, 1. So that is what you are taking. But you have to represent this mantissa using how many bits? 23 bits, because single precision format says that without changing the value. So we'll add dummy zeros to that to make it not. So that now single precision format is this entire number now. That is your 85.125. This is equal to that number. Is represented inside the computer in this format now. See, there is no decimal point written. Please remember once again, it's all just zeros and ones. So this, okay, I'll just take another color. Yeah, I'll write here once again. So what is the first bit? Sign bit, right? Next 8 bits, biased exponent, that is 133 you are representing. Next 23 bits is your fraction, which is this number. Okay. Fraction. Anyway, you know that 0 multiplied by anything is 0, so that is not going to change the value. So this is in single precision format. Now coming to double precision format. This conversion, everything is already done. We know that. So what is to be changed? Only this should be changed. So what is the biased exponent here? We're adding 1023 now, because 64-bit format. Once again, I'm recalling that you can see, right? E plus 1023, you can see here, 1023. So we're adding that number to the given number, given exponent. So it becomes 1029. 1029, once again, you represent using binary, okay? And Mantissa is already known to us, previous one. And of course, you have to make it as 52 bits, Mantissa. So you have a sign bit, okay? Then 11-bit exponent and 52 bits fraction, right? So 52 plus 11 plus 1 becomes 64-bit. That is how you, it's quite easy. You can easily know now. So take the original number, put it into binary format, normalize with respect to the exponent, then in single position, double position, make the biased exponent. Okay, this much you do. Special values for floating point numbers. So we'll come to the end of that. So we'll come. There are some examples for you to at least understand this concept. So this is going to complete the session for IEEE floating point formats. So just you have to practice some examples on your own, like what we have solved here, then only you'll get to know the format, how to write this and how to calculate this. Okay. So thank you all. Let us end this session now, and this module is also completed. Okay. Thank you.